Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to be here at South Summit leading this interesting conversation about human leadership in artificial times. Firstly, let me share with all of you something personal and in some way human too, as I will demonstrate also how important for me is technology to build my own human and personal relationships. I'm hearing impaired, and without these little earphones that I have, for me it would be much more difficult to build my human relationships. So with this, you can understand, with this disability for me, is how technology is important for us to be a means to make our life better and easier, and not to be an end in itself as humans are. The problem appears when we decide that technology should play a role that is more important than humans. In my opinion, technology must serve human beings and not the opposite. The human beings should always occupy a place ahead of technology. We will discuss about that during our talk. But as we are humans, it may help maybe to bring our mind here, because maybe it's still at home in bed, maybe, or having a coffee outside. So if you don't mind, join us to practice a little meditation before we start this talk. So I'm going to request you to close your eyes and be calm and focus your attention in your breathing. Inhale and exhale slowly, and lay aside for a moment your thoughts and focus your attention in your breathing, which is the most basic and necessary thing that we have. Inhale and exhale. And now think about the great day of South Summit that we have ahead, and be thankful for the wonderful opportunity that we have to be here and to listen and meet fantastic people. Think about a purpose you want to reach today, and send all the energy to reach it. Inhale one more time and exhale. And now open your eyes and give us a smile. And after this little contemplative moment, we are ready for the action. So firstly, let me introduce myself and explain you why I'm here. My name is María de León Castillejo, and I have been working for more than 20 years in communications, and I have a deep training in humanities, coaching, leadership, ethics, and yoga. A few years ago, to be concrete in 2017, I received an important inner call when I read about the suicide of a Spanish influencer who is 27 years old. In that moment, I also, with no expectations, became an influencer. I built a community of more than 128,000 people. But for me, I took it like a responsibility. To be sincere, I don't feel very comfortable when I say, or that I say personally, that I'm an influencer because I think it's a term that the people should decide to call an influencer, not you to yourself. Influence is very important. It's very important, and we have to take it very seriously. To influence is more than show the people how good you are, how good you look, what cool things you do, or what cool things you have. For me, to influence is to think about how we can impact in others positively. And that's what I should try through my work. Nowadays, I'm running projects because of this inner call that I receive. I decide to focus myself and my job in other purpose, to develop projects of digital education, and that is what I'm doing now. I already created a program in the university about personal branding, leadership, and influence, digital influence. And also, I'm running projects like Think to Be You, to help people to be connected more with themselves so they can reach easier the fullness, and also to help them how to connect their life purpose with their digital activity to make it more meaningful, so they will reach more fullness through the social media. And also, the other project is Referencers, because I wanted to promote an evolution of the figure, of the character, of the influence, into people that are more conscious about this influence. And like references, I could say, that can be change agents to build a more human, healthy, ethical, and professional social media. And from my point of view, the key to become a referencer is the humanistic education. So, enough about me. Let me introduce you the fantastic guest we have today to talk about how human ingenuity is meeting with tech advancement. So, from one side, we have Claus Nielsen, who is a former monk, thought leader, a spiritual teacher, and entrepreneur mentor. And from the other, we have Jesus Hijas, who works as a human-centric tech businesses advisor. Also, he's a LinkedIn Top Voice entrepreneurship speaker, and he's the writer of 4 books about this topic, human leadership in artificial times. And I think the 5th is in the oven. So welcome to this conversation. And let me ask and start asking you, so people would understand a little bit better your biography. Asked me that I received this inner call that made me refocus my job in a more humanistic focus away. When did you receive that inner call to focus your life purposes on human leadership in this way? So maybe you start, Claus?
Yes, okay. I did not receive any inner call at all. I received a plethora of outer calls. I was a tech founder, I was a hacker, I was a techno DJ, I was doing all sorts of wild and interesting things in my youth, and was doing materially extremely well at a very young age. I was a CEO in my early 20s, which is much too young for a role like that. And as a result, I had a massive burnout and spent a couple of years in deep depression, thinking on paper my life looked awesome, and I was dead inside. And so when I decided to become a monk in India, it was out of desperation, actually. I don't recommend it to anyone. And the inner calling sort of came accidentally when I ended up there and started meditating all day and wearing bed sheets and doing fire sacrifices, suddenly I realized I'm happy. When I stopped chasing things outside, I started to regain my sense of self. And that's how it actually came about. So I did that so you don't have to. That's why I'm here, right?
How do you feel with the robe of a monk?
Oh, it's great. It's like wearing clothes and not wearing clothes at the same time. And also, I forgot how I looked because I was wearing the same thing every day for years. So there's one example. I was at a restaurant taking some people around Kolkata to visit some temples. And I'm washing my hands and I look up and there's this strange guy staring back at me. And it took me a moment to realize I was looking at a mirror. It was my own face. I'd completely forgotten how I looked. So there was no sense of vanity, no sense of insecurity about what am I wearing today, what do they expect, am I dressed up, am I dressed down? It was just the same thing every day. Beautiful. I loved it.
Great. And you, Jesus, can you tell us a little bit of your biography and inner call?
And in my case, I think it was a series of inner calls. I have always considered myself an entrepreneur, although I was for 12 years in big corporates.
Yeah.
So I made like strange movements, like randomly changing areas within the company or going to live abroad in Brazil with basically no extra conditions or something like that. So by the time I came back, I had my first kid, and that kept me thinking a little bit about my future within that particular company, but could be any of those. And with my second kid, I had a very strong call, and that was counterintuitive because most of the people say, now that I'm a father, I need to kind of settle down and be responsible. Yeah. And I thought the opposite. I thought it is the time now. If I don't do this already, I don't do that. And I wanted to lead with the example of taking bold steps and bold decisions. So I went for it. And that was 8 years ago, and the road took me through different levels and obstacles, and mainly obstacles. But fun adventures.
It's the best example that you can share with them. But tell me, it was for you easier to find a place in tech businesses to develop your human leadership and your life purpose?
For me, it was not easy at the beginning. I mean, you spend like years connecting your purpose to what you do, and apparently humanities and technology are very far away. But that time, 2016, 2017, and 2018 for me was a very good reflection time.
Yeah.
And I did that connection within. And after that, I don't know if by chance or because that was supposed to happen, I have found this alignment with the companies I work with. So, yeah, I think I'm lucky.
Great. We have to keep going in this area because we have to promote this human leadership in these artificial times, no? That we were talking about. And about you, Klaus, because you are working now like a wellness corporate, no? And you are advising companies and also people, no, in the companies. So it was easy for you to find this place for developing your job?
I wouldn't call it easy. So the part about I coach founders and CEOs in a world that is changing incredibly fast. I teach them about eternal principles of leadership, so that way they can give that sense of security and that sense of calm to the people that they lead.
Yeah.
But the part about to stop being a monk and then become a functioning member of society was completely terrifying. I had forgotten how to do shopping and how to pay bills, and while everyone was having smartphones, I was a monk. I didn't have a phone when social media came out. I'm not on social media. I don't speak the same language, and so 99% of what is in our mind is pre-programmed routines, and all of those programs were gone. I had to reprogram my whole mind. So I had a complete mental breakdown again. And now, a few years later, I'm sort of a functioning member of society again. But it also means I'm detached from the problems that people are facing. That means I can see them from outside. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Jesus, I was going to call you Jesus, but Jesus.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. Do you think AI and algorithm are threatening the survival of human beings as many people think? How can we avoid losing our human essence in these artificial times?
So the short answer to your question is no. I don't think so, and the reason is because I choose to, like Neo said in The Matrix. I mean, that's the reason. At the end, I think we all make a choice, and we make choices every day.
Yeah.
To what you do. It's, I mean, we've started feeling with your meditation, and thanks for sharing your story. Then sharing about what we think and we believe in. But then we have what we do in the day-to-day. And that's where you live. Mm-hmm. That's what you actually print into what's been your life or your legacy. So once you choose to believe in something, then you need to actually represent it in your acts day to day. So if I believe human leadership is possible and more necessary than ever in times of artificial intelligence, I need to prove it. And we can discuss about the way to prove it. But I'm aligned with Klaus in the sense of some principles, some basic principles like consciousness, like human creativity, communication, learning. We have forgotten about learning in times of machines that are able to learn faster than us. Mm-hmm. So we need to recover some of those principles in the day-to-day of our lives as people, but also in the day-to-day of companies, because sometimes we see companies going in autopilot for the results of this quarter.
Mm-hmm. And Klaus, one of my important learnings that I get after my life experiences, if you don't live connected with yourself, with your essence, it's very difficult to reach the fullness. It no matters if you get or you do whatever, but if you are not connected with who you really are, it's very difficult to reach that fullness, no? And enjoy really life. That's why I call the project that I'm doing Think to Be You, which for me is the key, no, of the fullness and the success. I wanted to emphasize that message. So in these artificial times, looks like we lost contact with what is essential. Which keys do you think are important that you would share with the audience to live more connected with ourselves and to develop a journey from mind to heart?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we are living in artificial times. And I think I'm very much aligned with Jesus that the future is actually looking very bright, because the transition from social media into artificial intelligence actually augments what you're talking about. So we're developing an AI monk that is essentially an artificial intelligence designed to help you with the spirit-mind-body connection. And so in that sense, it can help you to balance out your lifestyle, make sure you get proper sleep, stay hydrated, all of these things that we kind of already know, but we're too busy to remember. And so in a gentle way, because of the sophistication of technology today, we can design it in such a way that it actually builds up the human mind and expands the consciousness. Whereas social media today is breaking down people's consciousness and polarizing and leading them down rabbit holes, because the business model is such that we want them on these sites for as long as possible. Mm-hmm. That will change now with artificial intelligence. So I'm very much aligned with what you're saying. The future's looking very bright. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the dystopia. The utopia will come later, right? Because you always learn how to misuse technology first, and then you learn how to... Now we can start building models that are actually helping humans expand their experience of being human, right?
Super. And Jesus, many people, especially young people, suffer from mental health problems in digital culture, especially for the use of social media. Which do you think are the causes and how we can fix it?
Well, I don't know, actually. That's the honest answer. I think there are many causes, but for the purpose we are discussing here in this event, I think technology sometimes helps and sometimes it doesn't. And I think young people are suffering the bad side of technology, are misusing technology, or are in front of a dead end. Like it's not their fault; they are misusing it. It's the way the system works. Yeah. How can we address that? I think a lot of education in the
For me, is the key. Totally humanistic.
Yeah, in the case of the youngest, I think it's harder to speak about life principles when they are still finding their own spot in life. So a lot of education, a lot of many people ask me, how do you manage working with AI with your kids? I have one of 9 and one of 7, and I always say I go transparently with them. I want them to know things exist. They call them, like their toys, and they know how to use them. They come and say, "Hey, Dad, can we use this for this, or what? This is not for that." So I think education is the base for everything. But that's a very complex topic. I don't think I'm gonna solve it with one answer.
And for me, it's very important to focus the purpose of what you do in a transcendental purpose, more about, looking for your benefits. Also, as I say in the beginning, how you can marking others, through what you do, for your talent and your knowledge. This is very important. And I'm going to ask you, Klaus, technology gives us also the opportunity to access to a lot of information, but this is very positive, but at the same time can be a source of distractions. So what practices would you recommend to keep your mind focused? And if you can take, because we don't have too much time, it's a pity. I would stay here for a long time talking with both of you. But maybe people in the audience never tried meditation. We did a little bit in the beginning. But maybe you can share with them some keys that are important to try, at least.
Yeah, so, I mean, meditation is an absolute key. I consider meditation to be both a human right and a human obligation. It's a human right because everyone deserves a little window where the world is not trying to impose ideas on them. We're living in a giant brainwashing machine, constantly being intruded upon with opinions, products we should buy, or clothes we should wear, whatever. And so everyone deserves half an hour or whatever we have time for to sort of just feel that I'm actually okay, just me, without any external stimuli. It's also a human obligation because when we do meditate, we take that inner peace with us and we can give it to others. So it's imagine that you go to work and you don't take a shower. You're going to be stinking up the place. But why is your mind so dirty? Why is your mind so messy? You're stinking up the place, right? And so you can get to that point where you enter a room and people are just naturally drawn to you. That's a win for everyone, right? So as we get into a more confusing time, it becomes increasingly important to go beyond it. Everything is essentially meditation. Whatever you meditate on, you will acquire. Unfortunately, most people meditate on money, sex, food, and power, right? And so that creates a kind of an aggressive environment. If we instead meditate on higher principles like compassion and tolerance and patience, we will see that instead of chasing the world and the world running away from us, the world will start to approach us. Opportunities just arise. We don't have to market ourselves all the time. We don't have to have that external persona and then the internal confusion. And everything gets better, including the way we treat our children and the way we bring them up. Information is easy. Now, ChatGPT use has gone down 30% because children are not in school anymore. When they get back to school, ChatGPT use will go up 30%. Right? So cramming information is not education anymore. Education as we know it is done. It's over right now. We need to, education means to bring up a human. So that's what we need to focus on, and meditation is a key element.
So to close the conversation, let's talk about love. Love is the most important soft skill for a human being. Do you think, Jesus, love in artificial times may end up being artificial too? And also, if you can tell me, how can we build more authentic relationships in these artificial times based in love?
Yeah, actually, I think the latest update of GPT is GPTL for love. No, I'm just joking. Obviously, I choose to believe that love will be human. I also think humans will develop emotions to machines, because I think that's happening already. But the essence of you called it a soft skill. That was smart. The essence of that emotion, or principle or guide, whatever you call it, is compassion, is forgiveness, is giving everything you have to other person, and also admiring and empowering and respecting, and those are like very deep human feelings. I don't think I choose to think that machines won't develop those feelings, and some could argue that it all depends on patterns put on silicium or carbon brains. But I also choose to think there is a further spark in us. That's my choice.
Thank you, Jesus. And Klaus, how can we spread more love in these artificial times?
If we remove the distractions of the illusion that material things will make us happy, the natural thing that will replace it is love, because the human soul is made of love, and it's all the material desires that get in the way of that. That's where all the confusion comes in. So we just start by removing that. Naturally, love comes out.
Thank you very much to be here. And I want also ask for applause for them, and also for our friends of music school. And thanks to them, we can enjoy South Summit, because music makes our life much more joyful. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you.